Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time adventurer, and with me is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there, see? Today we're here to talk about a movie that's really either in odd colors or black and white, see? With an actor that we know is absolutely crazy, see? And he does a funny voice the whole time, see? That's Spider-Noir.
Which is not a movie, but a 8-episode series on Prime Video. I was interested in this, just hearing about it, but my origin with Spider-Noir is I had not really heard much about him or really remembered a whole lot about him until I think my very first exposure to where I actually gave a shit was in Into the Spider-Verse. And Nick Cage voiced Spider-Noir, who was awesome, highly entertaining, great comedic relief. You know, he just burns things just to feel something. You know, it's so funny for some of his antics and his Nick Cage-isms in that movie. And my expectation of going into this was I better see some of those same Nick Cage-isms. And boy, I was not disappointed. Mark, what about you? What is your origin with Spider-Noir and also your expectations with this series?
Yeah, see, I saw it the same way you did, see? No, I had not heard of Spider-Noir.
I was wondering how long you were gonna go along with that.
I can't. It is.
I thought you were gonna go Robert Downey Jr. and just
until we get to the DVD commentary, I'll just stay in character. I could do that. It would pain my brain to do it at this point, right? I met the character the same way you did in the animated Spider-Man universe, and it was amusing and awesome that it was Nicolas Cage, because you and I really enjoy like the little sprinkled in thing, and I thought that this actually getting done would be a pipe dream. I never thought they'd get it done, and I never thought they'd get it done with apparently this amount of budget and time. And it's Amazon, not Sony. So how own Spider-Noir versus owning Spider-Man? Isn't Spider-Noir a version of Spider-Man? I don't even know how this happened.
Not sure. I'm not gonna AI it or Google it, because I care about water and resources, and I'm just too damn lazy to do it.
Yeah, I don't. It's confusing. It's confusing, but it's a spectacle, this show. And, you know, I would offer to give you my patented summary of the show, but I only watched 6 episodes of the 8. I love Nicolas Cage, and let me rewind there. I love ridiculous Nicolas Cage, like Con Air, Face Off, National Treasure Nicolas Cage. The Nicolas Cage that isn't going to hurt you, but it's not going to make you smarter either. Like, I can get down on some fucking Nicolas Cage. And the first few episodes of this, I was stoked that it was just campy and bad. And like, you could see Nicolas Cage agreeing to this movie only if he could do the Cagney voice, see? And only if we can release it in black and white. And then you see the interviews with him where it's like, yeah, we had to release it in color for millennials, or for the Zennials or whatever, the young kids, because they're not used to black and white, and they might not pay attention, but they're going to pay attention to So it's just, I thought for a comic adjacent property, I think it got a lot of actors and respect, and I love the fact that it did. Like, the fact that this exists makes me happy, but I wasn't happy enough to watch all 8 episodes yet.
Okay. So it's funny because I think you ended up stopping when, for me, it got really good. But we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you right when the episode where I'm at in it. And yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But go ahead, go where you were going.
Yeah, let's just talk about the cast. So Nicolas Cage, obviously I am not a huge Nicolas Cage fan. I like his antics and his novelty that he brings to acting. I've never been like, oh man, you know who I love as an actor? Nicolas Cage. Like, no, that's never been the case. I like I like movies with Nicolas Cage in them. Gone in 60 Seconds, I've watched that so many times.
Great.
And highly entertaining movie. So good.
But it's because he's so quirky in it.
But it's also the other cast members.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie's in it. Bullet Tooth Tony. I mean, like, everyone's in that. Freaking, just overall, you got the Tom Hagen as consigliere
You're thinking of
for
Robert
Nicolas Cage's
Duvall?
character. Yeah,
You're thinking
yeah.
of Tender
I was
Mercies
trying
over
to
there?
no, I was trying to think of Tom Hagen, the name, but yeah, I mean, it's just a stacked cast overall. And same thing with the other movies that he's in, you know, even with Face Off. I love that movie, but it wasn't necessarily because of Nicolas
It was
Cage.
the
Now it's
crazy
for a different
of
story.
Travolta and the
Yeah,
crazy of Cage together and all the face raking that made that movie hauntingly beautiful.
but it's for me, it was Guns Akimbo that made it good for me. Like I like the John Woo action, so that's where I enjoy some of the movies that Nicolas Cage is in. I never really got into the National Treasure movies. I watched them; they're okay. I shouldn't say they're okay. They're entertaining, but it's not my type of movie. So that's just my
But
thought.
the campy Nicolas Cage-ness makes it so much better. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. It just
I
makes
didn't think
it,
of it as I just didn't think of it as campy. I just thought like, okay, that's Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. That's it.
but
And
that's what I
so
want. All I want is Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage.
and that's exactly what you got in this.
This is we've reviewed a fair amount, or we've talked about a fair amount of Nicolas Cage movies on this, and I think that as Nicolas Cage ages, he is much better than his uncle's wine. That was a shot at the Godfather director. If you were making Godfather references, Coppola wine. We reviewed the unbearable weight of massive talent. We reviewed Renfield, and I think that the more stuff he does, the more he just leans into, I'm fucking Nick Cage, and I love that. Like, give it to me. But when you get to 6 episodes of it, when you're doing meh as Nick Cage, like 2 episodes, I was loving it. When I got to 5 and 6, I was like, it's dragging a little here, guys. It's dragging. And then you see the origin of the powers, and it got me back a little bit, but not enough to slam the last 2 episodes back to back.
Okay. Well, the overall cast was really, really good. You got Lamorne Morris, Lee Jun Lee as Cat Hardy. I like the little alternate versions. I never read anything regarding Spider-Noir or the 1930 Spider-Man. I don't know if they refer to him as Spider-Noir in the comics, but I like that they have the different take of the characters. You know, obviously Cat Hardy, Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, that's kind of that character, but not really because now she's a lounge singer. But even you have Flint Marco as Sandman and Abraham Fubala as Tombstone as Lonnie. So that's just like super cool to see. Like, okay, I recognize those guys. I recognize those villains. And you had the other guy as Electro. So it was familiar. You get the Spider-Man villains. It's just a slightly different take of everything. And what I really like seeing in this movie, not just Nicolas Cage as Ben Reilly, but Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane. That guy is such a good actor. We've seen movies and reviewed movies that he's been in on the podcast. I don't know. Did we ever review Banshees of Inisherin, or did we just do In Bruges?
I think we
I
just
can't
did
remember.
In Bruges.
Okay.
We've been
It's
talking about doing Banshees, but I agree. Like Brendan Gleeson brings an amount of gravitas to the role that I think can balance the Nicolas Cage scale. Like, and that's to your point. Like the cast needs to balance the Nick Cage crazy to make it good. The Diane Kruger to his Ben Gates, the Travolta to his Face Off. Like when he has good people around him, he's great. Leaving Las Vegas with Elizabeth Shue, though that one's depressing.
I was like waiting for like, the balance. But
You won an Oscar
it's pretty
for
much
that.
just sad all around. Yeah, but it's just like, I don't even think that's because of balance. I think it's because he just did a great job as playing an alcoholic. But the overall cast was really good, and I liked the alternate take of things because I was aware of Spider-Man comics as growing up, and I played the video games, but I was never solely a Spider-Man guy. It wasn't much until later on in life that I was like, oh man, Spider-Man's the coolest.
I mean,
Because
Spider-Man did kick off this podcast.
he did, yeah. And multiple Spider-Man kicked off this podcast because we did the ranking of the Spider-Man movies that just was fantastic. So I think for this Prime Video, 8 episodes, it's a lot to soak in. I didn't want to originally do this for the podcast because, like, man, 8 episodes is a lot of time. And we can do it, but is it going to be fun? I have a reservation of doing TV shows because there's so much intricacy that can go on throughout however many episodes that it may be. And it's just it's a time suck. You know, we both have full-time jobs, we have families, and it's tough to watch a TV show, especially if the other people in the family do not want to watch it. So that's just my opinion of it. But a good alternate take for anyone who's not a Spider-Man fan, or maybe they just didn't know a whole lot about this version of Spider-Man, it takes some liberties, and it's I'm glad that they do, because it's not the same exact Spider-Noir in Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't need to be.
Well,
It's live
and they
action,
also,
the other thing's animated, it's fine.
yeah, they also, I think, in this movie try and give as much love as they can to saying it's Spider-Man, but it's so different, right? But they get the line in, the great power line. It's there, but they make it their own. And I think, to your point, like, this isn't a show that, like, for me, that I had to sit down and watch it end to end. Like, I think I hit like 3-4 in a row to kick it off, and then was like, I'm probably gonna go to bed, as opposed to I'm staying up and finishing this. But that doesn't mean it's bad. That just means that it's not
not at all.
a binging priority. I've watched worse, to be sure. But let's talk about the beginning of it and just the table setting. Normally, a superhero movie, you get in and you're in the midst of either them becoming or them in full swing. I don't remember a superhero story where we were brought into it after he'd given up the mantle, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting way in, and all you're seeing is like Spider PTSD and him trying to avoid being what we were told he was in the title of the film, or the title of the show. I keep saying film, but that was interesting to me. And we had to see this older, because Spider-Man, all the Spider-Men that we've seen are like teenagers, but this adult grown man, older man, like, be pushed back to the brink. It's very Dark Knight, from a Miller Dark Knight, the Return of the Dark Knight-ish, to where they had to push him to get him back.
Yeah, I like that take, and it obviously explains it well as to why we have a 60-ish year old Nick Cage as a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that they kind of brought that up, because it's like, live action with Nicolas Cage? That's going to be interesting, because, yeah, usually it's a younger Spider-Man. And sure, Nicolas Cage, I'm sure, is spry, but at the same time, is he believable in that role? And I think they have some good ways to ground him, or nerf him, as the kids would say these days. Is like, okay, he has a little bit of PTSD, he drinks a little bit, and he's not super, super strong like the other iterations of Spider-Man. It's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more realistic, but there's also a little bit of terror to it, you know? Like, how he gets his powers, that's an interesting one. The fact that he doesn't get bit by a spider, he gets bit by a Spider-Man, and that's how you get Spider-Man powers, is if you get bit by a Spider-Man. And so that was a cool take, and it was pretty, I'm not going to say terrifying, but if you're not expecting that, and maybe you're like a kid or very sensitive to disturbing images, then yeah, that's a shocking scene right there. But I like the perspective of it. I like that nice look of a different way for the origin.
I'm really like, does Nicolas Cage have the practical effect piece of the Spider-Man at home now? Like, that's the first thing after he got bit where I'm like, he's going to ask for that so he can always show people how he became Spider-Man. Like,
no, it's, you know who has it? It's
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal has it in his basement or whatever it is.
Did you watch this in black and white or in color?
I watched it in color. I didn't really want to watch it in black and white. There's certain things that are worth watching in black and white, and they were shot in black and white. The only other thing that is the exception to the rule is the black and white version of Logan.
There's a black and white version of Logan?
Yeah. It's really good. Fits everything in terms of the tone, and yeah, it was really good.
I love you, Shane.
I think with Spider-Noir, like I've seen some things like, yeah, it's probably better from the artistic perspective, okay? But I don't think it is better from my entertainment perspective. And I think there's a difference in that because how you consume media, the environments, the ambiance, the people that are in the room, anything that's impacting you negatively or positively, that all adds to it, right? So I personally feel like if I'm watching a Spider-Man, even though it's of the time, I think I might just get a little too bored with it being in black and white.
Really?
I think so. I think so. Because you know why people watch things in black and white?
Why?
It's usually just for a money perspective, right? Or it's because you can't watch it in color. And so when you can watch it in color,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for the better route.
Yeah.
I think that just, in my opinion. But I'd love to hear from any listener, for anyone who's watched it in the authentic black and white, because I'm sure it adds to the charm of it. But at the same time, it's not the charm that I need in it. It's just the enjoyment factor that I want. And I'll get more of that in color.
I would love to know if we ruined our viewing by watching it in color instead of black and white. I'd love to know that.
There's some really good color in this. So I feel like it's taking away if you don't watch it in color. I get it from the whole noir feeling and just the Depression era, black and white. I get it from an artistic perspective. But from a Spider-Man comic book perspective, I'm fine with color.
So I was, some of the garment color choices in this, I feel like were because they'd show better black and white than in color. Like some of it seemed a little like ridiculous, but I don't know what color things were back then, Shay. And they could have been using really big oranges and fuchsias and stuff. I don't get that impression. Not the impression that I get Boss Tones.
Mighty.
Mm-hmm.
What about the music? How did the music fit for you throughout your viewing and as you're watching it?
The music did exactly what I needed it to do. It didn't distract me. It kept it had the right feel for the time period-ish movie that it was. And it was powerful, but not overwhelming. And again, it didn't take you out of it. So while it didn't stand out like the Mandalorian theme with like that, it didn't Mandalorian me, but it didn't take me out of it. And that's really, that's all I need. Like it's a Nicolas Cage movie. It's a Nicolas Cage show. I'm just so used to saying movie. He hasn't done a lot of TV. It's a Nicolas Cage show. I expect to be, to have to suspend reality. I like not having to suspend reality on the crappiness of the music. What about you? You're the one that's like the super music critic. Did you love it or did you hate it?
I liked the intro song to it. I thought it was modern. But it had the retro swag and style to it. So I was good with it. The other music throughout, it seemed nothing really stood out to me, and it didn't. I don't think it enhanced it as much as I wanted it to. Because the one thing about superhero movies is it's the grand aura that makes superhero movies what they are. It's not just the fact that someone can fly or someone's super strong. It's the music that goes along with it. It's the shock and in some cases horror of like, oh my gosh, these people or these villains are using their powers and they're terrifying. We get that. And there's a little bit that heighten it as you watch a little bit of his origin. But at the same time, I am not thinking to myself like, wow, that was a great crescendo there for the music as the plot kind of hit that peak. And so it was fine. It was okay for me. Nothing too crazy. I was more impressed by the sets and the wardrobe that everyone was wearing. I thought that was really cool. My wife would always mention like, oh, I wish everyone dressed like that still. Like, yeah, it's cool to dress nice and look presentable all the time. Not very comfortable, and sure as hell wasn't that comfortable back then, I assume. But at the same time, like, what can you do? That's tough times, and you just wear stuff the way that you want to wear it. But
I think that you bring up a very good point though in the production aspect of this, right? Like the costuming works, the music works, the cinematography works, the special effects work. It doesn't take you out of it. We recently watched another for streaming release superhero related, possibly closely related if you were a comic fan, in The Punisher. And The Punisher relied more on the acting than, I think, the set dress, the special effects by far, than any other. This was a whole nother level of production compared to The Punisher. The last, was it Last Kill, Final Kill, something like that?
One Last Kill.
Yeah, it was the last Punisher thing I'm going to watch, that's for sure. But I think that this was much more at a scale of an actual film than a TV series, right? This was not UPN level. This was like theater level. If this wasn't so long, you could have watched this on the big screen.
Sure. Yeah. And I think the acting is good enough in it. You know, like you've got a pretty good supporting cast. Lamorne Morris, Garrett Morris's son, and I really liked him as his friend, confidant, and it was just a cool way that, like, oh, this Spider-Man has friends. I think that's another differentiating factor, is that, you know, you always see, we're used to, I mean, besides his amazing friends, but you're used to seeing Spider-Man working alone, right? Like, sure, you've got Ned and MJ helping him out in the most recent Spider-Man, but at the same time, he's always a loner. He always has to fight the bad guys alone. He has no one to confide in. He has no one to go to. And here are two people that definitely know who he is, and they care for him. They look out for him. They're concerned about him. And so that adds something that we have not seen to the same degree besides Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And obviously it's just because Ned and MJ knew. When you take a look at Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone and the Amazing Spider-Man, there's an amazing cast, but there's not an amazing support system for Spider-Man. No, even from Uncle Ben and Aunt May, there's no great support system. He's just kind of off on his own. And I won't even talk about Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and their chemistry and how awful of a person that MJ was in those movies. If you have not watched those movies recently, go back and watch them, comment about how awful of a person MJ is in that trilogy, because she's the worst. She's the worst girlfriend. She's the worst person for any type of romantic relationship. She is a gaslighter and someone who will just hop from bed to bed if that situation calls for it.
Wow. You know, the only thing that I have to say in context of Spider-Noir and the OG Tobey Spider-Man movies is finally a Spider-Man that just makes his own web again.
That was an interesting one. Organic webbing.
Yeah.
Apparently we might see that in the Spider-Man Brand New Day, but it was cool to be able to see that in this one. And there's a lot of things that they lift, right? He has a web block. So it's an existential crisis type of thing that causes his web block. And I like that there's a little bit of some reasoning as to why. Because you have to nerf Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man is the superhero that pulls the most punches because he's so damn strong. And you have to find a way that he's not just going to turn someone's face into meat gravy. Because all it takes is one punch, and it's nothing but blood and broth. And that's it. Like, that's nothing there. And it's Spider-Man. What can you do? You make him old, you make him borderline alcoholic, PTSD, and there you go. You've got a way to nerf him.
I guess. I thought that this did well from the opening episodes, and then got a little long in the middle. Got a little stretchy. They pulled the taffy a little. So my real question is, I'm at the episode where he gets bit by the Spider-Man to become Spider-Man. And it ramped a little bit up just because that was cool. But I'm still not like, I need you to sell me on watching the last two episodes.
Would you ever see a play and only watch the first two acts and base it off of the first two acts? That's my only thing that I'll say, is because you're missing the third act, in my opinion.
Is the third act worth it, though, is the real question.
I think so, because you get some great, fantastic Spider-Man action. You get some great Nick Cageisms, and you do get a little bit of that in the the episode, at least depending on where you're at in that episode, you do get some Nick Cage-isms, but you get even more of it. And you get the point to where he turns the corner and is like, yeah, I'm going to be Spider. I'm going to be the Spider. And his support system is there. Everything works out how it should. Not as a happy ending, but everything works out as it should. And you get a superhero fighting villains. You get the superhero using his powers. You get some of that support system trying to help out Spider-Man. So it's a nice little Scooby-Doo type of thing to where they end up they're trying to help out, doesn't quite work, and then how do they fix it? They're going to make it even messier, but somehow that is the true solution to helping out Ben in his moment of need. So it's interesting. It's interesting. And I think it wraps itself up pretty nicely while leaving it open for another season potential. So I think, when you have the stuff that you wanted to get out of this is Nick Cage being Nick Cage. Okay. In my opinion, you get that to the max in the last 2.5 episodes. And so that's where I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you had me at Nick Cage being Nick Cage because I think that in the first episode or two, he did full on Nick Cage-ness. And then
there's a little bit of it.
They muted it down a bit. They muted it down a bit in the middle.
Bit.
They tamped it.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just too drunk. But I think that was I don't think he's like drinking on set. That wasn't an accusation. It was a joke because he's always got, some kind of booze in his hand. But I think that and I also wanted more on Silvermane than I think I'm going to get if I continue, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just as much as you need because he's an established mob boss. That's exactly who he is. He is a authoritative figure and an antagonist for the good of people, if you will. But then you think like, well, maybe the mayor is too. Maybe the mayor is also an antagonist. Not the best, politicians, not viewed very highly right now, at least some of them. But when you take a look at the overall plot and when you weave in Tombstone and Sandman, they're all just these weird experiments in the military. I think that's pretty cool. There's in Into the Spider-Verse, Nick Cage says like, I like punching Nazis and drinking egg creams or something like that, like something ridiculous, right? And that's kind of where it's like, oh, okay, well, you got experimented on just like the Nazis did like back in the day. So kind of a weird little flip-flop. And when you have an entire group of enhanced people or people that have powers and they get them in a very morally questionable way, maybe not even questionable, just like morally wrong type of way. It happens. Like, well, are they truly villains or are they victims of circumstance? They were in the military. You'd like to think that all military people are heroes, but we all know that when it comes to movies and cinema, a lot of times some of those military people are not painted in the best light. And I like the way that they also portrayed Ben Reilly in this, Nick Cage's character, as he's kind of a chicken, not like this fearless guy. He's not Steve Rogers in the war, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's just kind of like he's there and he's cautious, but at the same time, he is not a hero by any means.
He's flipping grenades, baby.
Not a single egg cream was in sight, unfortunately.
What are your feelings on the egg cream, by the way? Are you a fan?
Dude, I don't even know what the hell it is.
What? It's seltzer and chocolate sauce. It has a chocolate milky kind of thing, but it's decent. It's decent.
Wait, so there's no egg in it?
No, it's egg. I think it's egg white, seltzer, and chocolate.
Sounds awful.
Sounds awful. To be like creamed to be like chocolate milk.
If anyone drinks that, comment below because I would love to see a video of you drinking an egg cream.
I've had
pouring it and drinking it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the listeners. I want you to do it right now. I think there should be the I Can Do This All Day podcast. Egg cream challenge. Egg cream challenge. I Can Do This All Day podcast. We're doing it. That's my next social video. You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. So wait, what is it? I need an egg white, chocolate syrup, and some seltzer water?
We're not TikTok. They can go figure out an egg cream recipe. What we want is the videos of them explaining why they've made the best egg cream.
I'm asking you, what the hell is it's confirming on the egg cream ingredients? So chocolate syrup and egg white and seltzer water, is that it?
Yes. Oh wait, hang on.
I'm
gonna find the recipe for you and give
Okay.
it to you.
Well, I will continue talking about this as you find that. I'm being dead serious. We are going to do the I Can Do This All Day podcast egg cream challenge. We're going to pour the drink, and everyone who is going to participate is also going to drink it and give their true, honest reaction.
So in true Mark fashion, I was wrong. There is no egg in an egg cream.
Fudge.
There is no egg in an egg cream.
Son of a bee.
An egg cream is essentially whole milk, chocolate sauce, and seltzer water.
What the hell kind of botched drink is that?
It's a fizzy chocolate milk, baby.
All right. Okay, I'll give it a shot. God damn it. All right. The things I do for this podcast. Although this does seem kind of fun, because why would anyone want to drink? That doesn't sound appealing at all, but I'll do it.
It makes it light and fluffy. It makes the whole milk light and fluffy. So, are you going to make a video making an egg cream? Are you going to?
I am.
Get in the kitchen?
I am.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. But I have to buy whole milk. I never have milk in my fridge because milk is disgusting. So, number one, I'm going to drink something that I think is disgusting.
And you have to buy seltzer water. If you have seltzer water just sitting around?
I do. I actually do. Yeah.
There you go.
That's not a problem. But yeah, I'll do it. But I got
Andy's
some
gonna ruin
other.
His soda stream is what's really going to happen here. He's going to fuck that thing up.
No soda stream here. I've been thinking about it for a while, but no soda stream. But when it comes to this show, like, is there anything else from the plot? Like, did you like the whole alternate take of the villains? Were you okay with it? Were you trying to figure out who some of these villains were?
They double dutched it a little bit for me. Like, you can go in and Easter egg the people like they did with Flynn Marco, like they did with some of them. But they also have, like, I think the mayor and Silvermane kind of represent Kingpin at two different versions of Kingpin, if you will, right? Like Kingpin the mayor versus Kingpin the Kingpin.
Sure.
And I think that they could have, like, there's so many rich characters. You could have just, like, just done all the characters as noir characters. Because I'm not as familiar with the noir, like, storyline and as deep in some of, like, the third level Spider-Man characters, I kept thinking I'm missing something.
Okay.
So that is the one thing that, like, is the reason that I stopped, that I paused, that I wasn't like, yeah, let me get in, because I just kind of felt stupid for a lot of it, if that makes sense. But you're telling me it gets better. I watched more than enough of it to talk about it and have a feel for it. And like I said, it just, they could have done more.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay.
What Martha'd you about this show?
I think what Martha'd me was I was expecting. Well, actually, nothing Martha'd me. Nothing really truly Martha'd me.
Wow.
I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't a few more villains. I thought they should have just gone like full on Sinister Six.
You'd think they would. They had all the people with all. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that 100% is my Martha reason. You have the setup to go the whole rogues gallery in this, and you don't. They have names. Say their name. His name was Robert Paulson. Like, just do the thing.
When it comes to, like, Megawatt, Dirk Layden was the actor who played Megawatt. I was just thinking, like, oh, that's Electro, right? Like, that's Electro. Although I don't know if there's a separate character that is Megawatt as opposed to Electro. So I like that if I know nothing about Spider-Man, I could enjoy this. If I do know something about Spider-Man, which I do, not a whole lot, but like more than the average bear, I think like you've got some things where, okay, there's some familiarity. Lonnie is Tombstone. Okay, I know that character. I just watched Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's a pretty prominent, easy name. That's a good comparison. The powers for Megawatt, very much like Electro. Doesn't look like Jamie Foxx, but yeah, sure, it's good. And I liked him as Megawatt because, like, yeah, not every villain needs to be jacked and ripped. Like, that guy is just a bad dude, and like, he has really good charisma. And I like that he's such a 1930s 1940s type of asshole. He's just that stuck up, and he's so, what's the word I'm looking for? So self-absorbed. He views himself as the main attraction. He would have been a perfect WWE wrestler back in the day. Like, that's exactly, he's a heel for that, for sure. But yeah, nothing really Martha me. I actually, the things that I was disappointed in, I still thought they did really well with what they gave us, and that's the villains.
That is surprising that you normally, of anybody, you have thoughts.
Yeah, but this one, I didn't want to go into this thinking this is going to be a Marvel Studios production. Right. And I was surprised by the production. The stunt work was good. The Spider-Man action sequences were good. The Nicolas Cage. It's funny you say that Nicolas Cage, you just kind of got tired of him doing the whole. See, like, I don't think he did it enough. I honestly don't think he did it enough.
Maybe that's why I got in it. Maybe my brain thinks it was too much. Maybe it wasn't enough. But I will agree with you that from a production quality, this, and just quality in general, this is better than any Sony Spider-Man we've gotten in a long time.
Better than Spider-Man No Way Home? Far From Home?
A non-MCU. Sorry. This is better than any non-MCU Spider-Verse film we've gotten, other than the animated, right? But from the like the Venoms and the Madam Web.
Those don't count.
But I'm just saying this is better. This is better than all of those efforts.
Yeah, it is.
And probably Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, negative. The acting in that is just
Paul Giamatti is a robot in a rhino suit.
So I don't watch that I'm not watching Spider-Man for the rhino. Watching Spider-Man for Spider-Man.
I do think that this is from a Spidey themed movie, best we've gotten without like the direct Spider-Man in it in a while.
Yeah. That's a low bar. So,
and that should be a higher bar, candidly, right? Shouldn't it? It should be a higher bar.
It should be
so many opportunities.
It should be only on Venom. Venom is the only one that has the character has enough complexity, and you can take it a variety of ways. But then they went the way they did with Tom Hardy. But
Tom Hardy, did Tom Hardy win an Oscar or just been nominated for an Oscar?
I don't know. Not sure.
But he's an Oscar to Oscar adjacent level actor. Some may say a better actor than Nicolas Cage.
I don't think anyone says that. They just know it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you've got similar quality leads, and I think this trumps that. Yeah. I would go with this as opposed to that.
Well, hold on. Before we go into that, so Mark, I got a question for you. When it comes to Spider-Noir, not can you do this all day, but can you finish the series based off of our discussion?
I think that you've given me, normally when I kind of fall out of lust with something that I'm watching, when I become a little disenchanted and I need to take a minute between episodes, you also feel that way times 10. When I'm not enamored with something, you fucking hate it. So the fact that you are selling me on it and weren't like, don't worry, you're good. Like, I expected to come into this conversation and for you to say, yeah, don't waste your time. But you're like genuinely sad I didn't watch this all the way through and not giving me shit about it, but encouraging me to enjoy it. So I will finish it. I can't tell you when, but I will watch it. Since you're recommending it, I'm going to ask if you can do it all day.
So this is a complicated question and a complicated answer, because I think there's always like a line for TV shows that like it has to be really, really good to say that I can do this all day, because that is encompassing like, okay, the rewatchability is there, the acting, the music, the plots, everything is there. And enough for you to come back and want to watch this, or enough for you to be able to talk about it for an extended period of your life. Not time, but your life. Perfect example is going to be Breaking Bad, right? Breaking Bad, I think we're going to be talking about that show for years to come down the road. That'll be like the benchmark, right?
Never watched Breaking Bad.
Okay, so it's a great show. I never wanted to get into it. However, I talk to someone, they say, like, you should watch it. Like, okay. Ended up binging like a lot of it and then was caught up as new seasons came out. But when it comes to like other TV shows, like, okay, you got The Wire, you got Game of Thrones, that's something that you talk about for years. Whereas there are some shows, like Ozark, another one, perfect example. There are some shows that you're like, oh, did you see that show? It was really good. And you talk about it for the week, maybe a month, because someone lags a little bit and they watch it.
Yeah.
And then you never talk about it again. I think that this falls into the latter. So I'm going to say I cannot do this all day, because does it have Spider-Man or a version of Spider-Man? Yes. Does it have heroes? Yes. Villains? Yes. Intriguing story? Yes. Great setting and timepiece of everything? Yeah, absolutely. However, I think this is something where if you are not a huge Nick Cage fan or not a huge Spider-Man fan, you're not going to want to see this. You're not going to want to sit through all of it. And that's a big indicator of can't do it all day. So sorry, but I like it. I really do. And I hope you finish it. And I hope our listeners, who, in case you are even mild Nick Cage fans or Spider-Man fans, I think you will enjoy this. So unfortunately, can't do it all day though. Have to hit the wider variety of audience, and also you have to hit the longevity of conversation, because this is in the time. This is not timeless.
So you're going to take your egg cream on to the next show. I get it.
Got to take the egg cream challenge to social media, and that's about as far as I'll go with it. Who knows? Maybe we'll start a thing, and all of a sudden, Spider-Noir will just like pop up on Prime Video's charts over and over again because of the egg cream challenge. The real challenge is to not throw up while making it. That's what it is.
This was an opportunity for them to start marketing egg creams to children, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They could have canned some fucking egg cream and made it happen, but they didn't.
Bastards. Well, that wraps it up for another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger, and that is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Don't forget to tune in for the egg cream challenge. We want to see your egg cream videos along with Dan's taste test. Like, subscribe so you are alerted. Turn on alerts so you know when it comes out on your brand of social media at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all of them. But let's get the cream going.
There's two things that I like to do. One is drinking egg cream. Fuck. Well, that fucking phrase is fucked. Never mind. This is how we're ending the show. That's what you get, guys. We'll see you next time.
Minimum effort.